Bali Rooftop! Damian Saint.
What's going on?
We're finally doing it.
Long time no see.
How you feeling?
Pretty good. We threatened to do this for a long fucking
Saturdays
time.
We sat there at the W talking absolute shite.
I know, we always said we'd record it, but my concern was, even now, I've never agreed to. I've always been the guy that's done these and recorded other people.
Yeah.
But, I'm always worried I'm too honest.
Mate, honesty is the beauty of a podcast.
Kind of, but you have to be careful.
Let's get the nitty-gritty out and onto the table, mate. So you're back at W now, right?
Yeah, they reopened December 16th. My permit came through on the 18th, and then I went back. But it's nothing like it was before.
Mate, how could it be? Like the whole island's just brutal,
I'm lucky
man.
to be back there right now. I guess I'm just DJing again, just doing sunsets. Whereas before, I was organising all the events, booking talent.
So you're just doing the DJ now?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
It's just me. I'm like the only resident doing Wednesday to Sunday.
Really?
Yeah, it's kind of eerie.
So that's it? You're not booking anyone? Yeah.
No, there's no one to book.
Is there anyone coming through the studio at all? I
had a couple of voiceover clients, but I've also got a second studio in Canggu, which the acoustics are better for voiceovers. So we're doing voiceovers. You have like the meditation apps, like Headspace, Balance, Calm, and stuff like that. So we do the voiceover recordings for Balance.
Oh, right.
Excuse me.
Who have you got doing that?
A girl called Leah. She lives in Ubud. But the team are in San Francisco.
Okay.
So they come down to the studio. We record like super pro, like dead silent. So we record.
That's just for Calm, or you're saying they
no,
do
not
all
Calm.
those
It's
apps?
Balance. It's like competitor. It's like the competitor for. We've done Calm before. I know the head of music for Calm.
That's a huge thing now, hey. Like
it's blown up.
Seeing these.
We were recording stuff for We've done stuff for Calm a long time ago, and I know the music director there as well. But yeah, those things are huge now.
Yeah,
like the study got.
It's like
all musicians.
Like, how movies, like actors that did movies would never do a TV series in the past. And if you saw them, you'd be like, oh, you've dropped the B grade, mate.
And now you've got Matthew McConaughey or Morgan Freeman sending you off to sleep. It's pretty good at it. At first I kind of sneered at it, like, wow, whatever.
Yeah.
But you try it, it'll knock you out. It's like diazepam.
Oh, I need anything I can get, mate. Anything I can get.
So yeah, back at W, DJing.
So who's down there? Like, is it a bit of a ghost town in terms of even people hanging out there, or is there?
It's been pretty good.
Okay, and that's domestic tourism, or it's just people living here? You think
people living here? I don't think there's much domestic tourism at all.
Yeah, okay.
Because they have to test, or I think you can drive in without having to test.
Yeah,
Fuck knows.
I know a lot of people have been driving back.
A lot of
and forth,
expats, like familiar faces, coming down for sunset.
Yeah, okay.
But then we've been getting smashed with rain. There's been cyclones whipping down the beach. Yeah,
I mean, it's just everything hits at once. But I mean, what a year! I've obviously been living up north, so for me, I'm in this weird space where like I sort of end up forgetting that there's shit going down because I've been in my own world up there. My whole world changed a year ago when it all kicked off, but since I've been up there, I've sort of gotten used to being up there now and being in my own world. I think that was a
great move.
Yeah,
you went up there for that?
Yeah, I'm glad I did it. But because I'm up there by myself and it's not a tourist area, no, I don't see a change up there because it's the same as when I first went up there. So I kind of get into this mind frame where I forget that anything's changed, and then I'll drive down here, and when I get down here, then I'll be harshly reminded because
decimated.
Yeah, you'll walk like I can't believe just driving around.
Petitanga is empty.
I drove down Petitanga.
It's kind of nice when you have to drive to work, though.
Yeah, the drives are sweet, man. Going out to even this morning, I went out to do my visa at immigration.
That's always fun.
Bang, bang. Yeah, it's just.
I don't have to do that, fortunately.
Yeah, right. But it's still the trips down that way is so fast now. I mean, you could drive to Uluwatu. It feels like you just zip down there these days.
Yeah,
which is, that feels like the old school days. How long have you been here now again? About 5 years.
No, man, 12.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, no, that's right. We're the same. I always think I'm 5.
Yeah. Well, it's 12, but 2010, I spent the year in Amsterdam because I was a tour manager.
Ah, right, okay.
And then I did a year of that. We did 300 flights in a year. And then we did our second tour of Australia. And then...
So who was that with?
Sebastian Ledger.
Right.
Producer friend. But yeah, I quit after a year and then came back here, back into the Garden of Sky.
So you had, well, let's go back to that then. Like, so you first moved to Bali.
I came, you see, I was in Singapore. I was a Ministry of Sound resident DJ, and that, after a few years, that didn't work out.
I remember interviewing you. Have we talked about this? Because I interviewed you for The Beat.
Maybe.
Years ago. I either interviewed you or I did write-ups on you, definitely. Like, I remember doing the sort of half-page ads in, about what's on and what's happening. I remember writing about Damian Saint from I remember...
There's not much to write.
I remember... it was a 3-word article.
That's it, yeah. 3 words to describe this guy.
No, but I remember... I remember Ministry of Sound and I remember Singapore. I remember those are the 2 things that I remember about you just from all that. Man, I wrote about so many DJs when I did that magazine. But I can't remember if you had just moved here or were you flying here to play from Singapore?
I came here to play as a guest.
Right, yeah.
So I'd lost a gig in Singapore, but I was still hanging out there. I wanted to live there permanently, but it was really difficult to get permanent residency. And then, what did I do? No, that's not true, actually. I went back to the UK for a few months, and then I pulled together all my contacts and pulled together a tour. So I was going to play in Malaysia, Singapore, Korea, and somewhere else. Fuck, I smoked too much. And I went up to Seoul. I did a gig there, and then I stayed at a friend's apartment for a week because he was away. He'd gone to Bali on holiday. All the time I've been in Southeast Asia for 21 years, and I'd never been to Bali.
21. Wow.
Yeah, I always wanted to be in a city because I'm from a small seaside town by the beach. So, growing up, it was like the dream of being in these big fucking metropolis places.
Yeah.
So Singapore, I started in Bangkok. I was in Taiwan and Singapore. So while I was in Seoul, my friend came down here for a holiday, and he went to Ocean Beach Club. He's a Canadian guy.
Ocean Beach Club.
Yeah, so this was like the week Ocean Beach Club opened. So he met Sean straight away. 2 Canadians clicked, hit it off. And he said, listen, I got this DJ staying in Seoul at the minute. He's been in Southeast Asia a while. He worked for Ministry, this, that, and the other. You interested in booking him? And he said, yeah, sure, bring him down. So I came down. Wasn't met at the airport. I had to find my way around this island. Classic Bali professionalism.
Yeah, you rock up.
What do they say? Baptism by fire or something like that.
It's the Wild West on a tropical island in the east.
A taxi drops me at Ocean Beach Club, blazing sun, and then I meet...
Which would have spun you out too, because Ocean Beach Club was basically renting out an old hotel that hadn't been renovated yet or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was something to do with the Harris. It was the Harris's property.
Yeah.
This is now Beach Walk Mall.
Is that what Beach Walk is now?
Yeah, it was built on top. It was fucking brilliant.
Oh, wow.
It was
I never
great
really
back then.
placed that in my geographical mind.
But that was their second place. So the old little Sky Garden was their first thing. These are the people that have got Shishi and the Forge now.
Yeah.
But back then, Sky Garden was 200 capacity. When it rained, they used to pull the roof cover over manually.
I remember it.
Proper
I remember
parties.
watching them
and
do
everyone from Seminyak, they used to got a living room. Fucking hell, this started to sound like you and Stu being old and fucking nostalgic. we're gonna have to bring this back soon. Shout out to Stu. So I was at Ocean Beach Club. I went there to play on I think it was the Friday and the Saturday, and I played on the Friday. And one of the residents there, after my set, he said, "I really like your music. We same music interest and taste. Let's have dinner tomorrow night before your Saturday night gig." So we sat down and started talking, and he said, "I can say this now because the guy that they were going to let go isn't here anymore." He said, "The guy that's playing now, I'm letting him go soon. Are you interested in a residency? Do you want to stay?" And to be honest, at the time, I didn't have anything else going, so I thought, let me sleep on it, and then I agreed to it. Fucking hell!
And that was it. That was the move.
Yeah, right. That was it.
It's amazing how that happened too.
Well, I did go to Amsterdam a couple of years after, but it was too fucking cold, and the flights were killing me. Like I said, 300 flights in 1 year.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot.
So how did you first, what was that first? It's so easy to talk about what life's like once you're doing what you do, but it's that little step to get to that point where you are doing 300 gigs a year. That's often something that most people who don't work in the entertainment industry as a musician or a DJ or whatever often think, well, how did you get to that bit? Like, where was the flick? Like, what were you doing?
And actually, I've missed out a bit here because I was at Ocean Beach Club in Sky Garden, but at that time, I'd always wanted to move to Australia. Don't know why.
Yeah, mate, what's wrong with you? Times me by 26 million. Look out. Not good.
So it worked out. I could get this working holiday visa and go there. I didn't know what I was going to do there. But I got this visa and then I went there. I lasted 3 months and it was one of the worst experiences ever.
Really?
It was impossible to get work. I'd quit music. It was just really difficult. I lasted 3 months.
Where were you?
I was in Sydney. I was in Manly.
Uluru or something.
Fucking hell.
At the base of the
It was just
rock.
hard. You know, I was a DJ. I
Busking.
guess I was semi-successful as a DJ in Asia Pacific. But once you get there, it's back to the normal world where you're applying for jobs and you need skills and, you know, normal people's shit. And it just wasn't working. So after a few months, you know, Sebastian's an old friend of mine. We were talking on the phone a lot. I said, I'm miserable. I don't know what to do. And he said, I need a tour manager. Why don't you just meet me in Sydney on New Year's Day and then we'll move back to Amsterdam.
So were you old mates from
from
years ago?
From Ministry Singapore, like 2006.
Right.
So it was just a fucking excuse to fly around the world as friends on other people.
I mean, that's a pretty good ticket. If you're in Sydney just spinning out about lack of work and someone says
it was really. I actually left there early. I agreed to the tour manager deal, but as soon as I'd agreed to it, I flew back to Bali straight away and did like 6 weeks here, and then flew back to Sydney on the same visa again because those working holiday ones are multiple entry.
Right.
So I came back to Bali, did more gigs at Sky Garden and Ocean Beach, and then went back to Sydney. We did a Summer Days tour in 2010, which was fucking hell. Sydney, Brisbane, Melbourne, Perth, back to Sydney for a couple of weeks, and then we went to Amsterdam, and that's when things kicked off. You might be in Colombia for 4 days. Or? No, some of the sets I was opening, but generally just logistics and organising flights.
Did you enjoy that side of it?
It was fucking brilliant. Flying around the world with my best mate was amazing.
Yeah.
And it cost us nothing. We were getting paid to do it.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Was the actual logistical side, though, did you sort of get into it? Some people really enjoy that organisation side.
I wouldn't say I really enjoyed it.
But I guess if it's just two of you and your mates and you're like... the really non-enjoyable part, I guess, for a lot of managers would be managing a band where you're not really mates with the whole band, and the band's just different. Like kids fucking around, and then you're...
That's exactly... Do you know what it was? It was like a year-long school trip.
Yeah, right. You were both the kids, and you were
It was madness. We got to Tokyo for a week, and got to Sydney for 2 weeks, Colombia for 4 nights, and then Brazil, then back to Amsterdam, Ibiza... 5 times in that season.
Did you actually have to play, because he's your mate, did you actually have to play manager role of like, dude, get your shit together, like pull your head out off the fucking...
No, that was the thing. He'd always be down in the lobby before me.
Oh, really?
Always organised. Yeah, it was, it was like, I can't sleep in. It was more dealing with promoters, and I'm the guy that fixed awkward situations. Like if someone hadn't paid the other half, they paid a deposit, or... Yeah, I was the guy that had to speak up. Or the awkward dinners with promoters where it's, so...
Pulled out your jiu-jitsu?
No, this was years before jiu-jitsu. I've not trained jiu-jitsu for ages. I'm not going to... We will talk about that later before my fucking leg almost fell off. But yeah, that was then. And then I came back to Bali, did a Sky Garden for a few more years. And then, not a few more years, a few more months. And then the W opened. And one of the residents at the time, Danny, he moved to W.
Danny Fryer.
Yeah, the legend that is. I need a cough button, like a mute cough button. So. Danny's in Oregon, but that's a different story. Fuck, where was I?
You're at W. Danny's
they wanted to me to start from day one with Danny, but back then it was different. Back then, it's like you have to have a kitas. You've got to pay for your own kitas, and I wasn't making enough to just fork out like at the time like a month's salary to be able to pay for it.
So it's a big risk at that initial stage.
Not back then.
Oh no, it wasn't.
No.
Well, to pay for your own guitars.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
I thought you meant the officials.
Oh right, no. I mean, I skimmed it under the radar for a long time, but then once it was at a point where you really had to pay for your own guitars and get it sorted. I saw that it was a big risk for anyone that was coming in for the first time. If you didn't have the gigs already set up and the money guaranteed, it's a lot of money to fork out.
It is. It is now. If I'm lucky.
It's even harder now, but they look after you now. What is being looked after even mean anymore?
But anyway, so I was doing like one sunset a week. And then we did some concepts. We did those glow parties in the basement. So I was kind of bouncing between Sky Garden. I was playing at Mint for Mamsa as well. And then I was at W for this sunset. And it was going well. And I started making a bit more cash. And they said, look, if you get your own permit, then we'll take you for like 4 gigs a week. So I was kind of blurring between Sky and then W. And I was enjoying W more. Sky Garden, I was going to like 5 a.m. every day, drinking a lot.
It's a heavy process down there, man.
A lot of Jaeger, like glasses like this of
That's
Jaeger.
where I did the most Jaeger I've ever had in my life.
It's ridiculous. But Shawneton and mixed with Red Bull as well, so you get these. Oh, fucking hell. And then I just took the W gigs and kind of just didn't go back to Sky. That was it.
All cool? Was there any bad
No, we just didn't talk again.
It
It's like I didn't get fired. And I didn't quit. I don't know. I just transitioned
You guys
away
good though when
from
you bump into each other in the...
We bumped into each other once.
Really? Well.
Yeah, that was like 4 years ago. But the guy's on fire. He's a smart businessman. That guy.
Oh, he's all over it. Like he's one of those, just touch it turns to gold. I mean, just when Petty Tangett's died in the arse and it's a ghost town and... Up pops Forge in the middle of a pandemic, and it's just cranking. It's the spot for everyone. Yeah.
Anyway, I fucking hate backstories because they drag. What's going on now?
What's going on, mate? I mean, it's been what a mental year. We've only caught up once in this last year. Really, we had that chat, video chat. But that was
still a long time ago. That must have been like June, July.
Yeah, that was.
I think it went really quick
because I was. Yeah, I'd only just been up there I felt like I was just sort of getting into it when we chatted when I was up there. But yeah.
I'm kind of torn with the whole thing because although not just money, like I was fucking busy. We were doing great events and festivals and then I was, fly to the States, fly to Austin for W meetings or LA or some of the best trips of my life. And that's definitely all stopped. I was actually lucky to go to LA just before the whole pandemic kicked off.
Yeah, that's
I was there for like 12 days.
Yeah, that's right, because I saw... What was the comedy thing you went to?
I went to the Comedy Store to see Kill Tony.
Yeah, that's right, because I saw your photo on the steps there, and I was
and
like,
the day after was like Rogan and Joey Diaz, but no one else wanted to go.
Spewing.
And after the night that I went, you realise that after the notoriety that the Comedy Store's got, if a show's starting, we went for like a 7 p.m. show. But there's a queue outside an hour before, and it's long. And I'm not going on my own and queuing that long.
Because they're not huge places, are they? Those comedy.
It's not massive. I'm trying to think of a venue here that would be about the same size.
Because the podcast world has just, like, beyond just the internet making comedians massive, just through people sending just videos of comedians going viral. Like, podcasts, man, have just launched those guys.
I always kick myself because long before you've done yours and a lot of people have done theirs and really got traction and blown up, I built that studio at the W a long time ago and I did podcasts fucking early, early. Yeah, but then a friend of mine was also kind of doing one with a similar concept to what I wanted to do. And the way you talk about other people that were doing a podcast, like they're copying me, fuck them, fuck this, fuck that. Yeah. And it was so close to home. A really good friend of mine. You have to remember all the artists that have come through the W in the studio, and I could have.
It's an insane.
There's so many podcasts out there now that are doing the same, and I just kind of left it. And I was always kicking myself like, "Fuck!" I just didn't want to upset my friend, or it was just to stop that awkwardness. And now I'm funny like, though, hey, "Fucking goddamn! It could have been me sponsored by MeUndies or something like that."
The thing is with podcasts,
Dollar Shave Club.
It's like anything. Like at the start, yeah, you think, oh, I can't do a podcast because they're doing a podcast, but it's like
it was
saying,
exactly
it's like
the same,
like,
but I could have produced it much better.
Yeah, and it's like
the guy was
saying,
using this my studio to do these with artists that I was booking.
Right.
I was getting really fucked off with it.
Right.
It's like I've booked this guy and flown him in. Fuck! I hope he doesn't see this. He will now.
He will.
I don't care.
He will.
I don't, like this is it. It's coming out.
You're literally sorting it all out so he can do a podcast.
Yeah, but it was. I ended up charging him, but it's not. It wasn't worth it. It's like I should have just done it, or I should have done the same. It was weird. So many artists, my favorite artists in the world.
It's like saying, "Oh, I
just left it," and now everyone's got a podcast. Or, my God,
it's all about the angle, man. Like you don't not write a song because someone else is writing songs.
It's funny because the podcast I was doing were for a website, a W website called The Angle.
Oh yeah,
funny you say that. Yeah,
it's all about the angle, mate.
It was.
Yeah, some of the people that have come through W. Like, do you feel like what's your gut feeling in terms of things sort of ramping up again and getting back to any sort of point where there's...
I talked with the... well, I'm trying to avoid names. Some of the people at W, we just need the Australia tourism back. That's it. We need Australia to come back. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. As soon as that comes back, you have to think Bali is still like number 1 or number 2. I think, don't quote me on that. Destination in the world. So as soon as people can fly again and go on holiday,
yeah, I think as soon as,
especially Australia,
yeah, people once they feel,
but then again,
fine about
since
it.
the start of this, my thing was disposable income. It's like no one's going to have disposable income to take a nice holiday in Bali. But then again, when that fucking iPhone 12 came out, everyone fucking got one. Or when that new MacBook Pro comes out.
I think there's still a lot of people that have actually probably saved a lot of money. Like
that's how I managed.
Yeah, I mean, you know.
I was going to get to that. I fucking totally cut you off there. That's really bad.
Go for it, mate.
When we had that call, yeah, I sat in my back garden almost every night. I watched several full moons come and go.
Yeah.
And I kind of really fucking enjoyed it. And I've said forever since I've moved here, I really love Nippy because everything shuts down. It's quiet. A lot of my friends are like, "No, fuck that, I'm getting out of
Nippy,
here,
man. I love Nippy.
Yeah, I've always said, wouldn't it be nice if we could just have an extended one, like a long one, like a long weekend
year.
or
like a 2-year apocalyptic
so
Nippy.
I hope it's not my fault. I hope no fucking shaman or something.
Man, I've been wishing that for a long time. I mean, I've said for a long time I'd love to just cancel everything and go up north to my cousin's place and lock down for 6 months. But you never do that. You never give yourself that time off.
No way.
I think you can handle the time off. But
it's my day off today. I still went into the studio.
Yeah,
I'm still on that property. Just wrote a loop, wrote some bits.
Yeah,
but just dithering.
So are you doing much writing at the moment?
Bits. This is why.
Are you feeling pulled into it? Because you got to get.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, good. Because
a lot of melodies at the minute.
You never get into it until you're actually, like, you just pulled. Like, as long as you keep telling yourself you've got it.
And it doesn't do it enough. It's like every few months or sometimes 6 months, and it's not good enough. This is one thing I learned from a famous podcast is where they talk about comedy, and you can't just write or produce or write something when you feel inspired, because things don't work like that.
No,
you got to turn up. You got to sit down, and if you write something, you should do it daily. But if it's shit, it's shit. I'm dying to burp.
Get it out, mate.
It's stuck.
Just
stuck.
Don't be afraid of the mic.
Coughing and burping.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot involved with any kind of creative outlet. Like you can't put it on a timer. You can't say, "Oh, I've got that day off, so that's when I'll sit down at 3:00 and do it." But it also does come down to like more consistently being involved in it, so that there's more opportunity for it to grab you, and because it's always that. It's always that one moment where, like, whether it's writing a tune or for me even making videos now, there might be like hours of not really finding the spot with it, and then
I have something for you.
Suddenly go, oh my god, this is working, and then boom,
you got to read a book called Deep Work by a guy called Cal Newport.
Deep Work,
fucking amazing. I recommend it. I actually give copies out to friends of mine, and it's exactly that. so it's all about creativity and flow, and so there's a lot of people in the world now that are, they'll Instagram or take pictures of work that they've done or things that they've done, and it's just like light work. It's just surface. Look what I've done. Whereas if you shut everything off and you have a routine every day, whereas like, all right, these 2 hours every day are my time to be creative, or 3 hours, like a long time, so you can sit down. I guess it's like your muse, like you summon your fucking muse or whatever they call it, where you sit down and, like I said before, you've just got to start writing. And even if it's shit, it's going to take you an hour to warm up, and then things will start to flow.
Yeah.
But you need that block of time to shut yourself off, especially from the fucking internet, Instagram,
Absolutely.
and shit like that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you'll know as a musician.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the position I'm in at the moment. I've got so much time that, like, whether I have my phone sitting there or not, I've got so many hours to myself that eventually I get pulled in. But certainly, if you're in a position where you're working full time and you've only got a few hours spare in the week or a couple of nights spare in the week, if you want to get something creative done, you have to turn your phone off and lock yourself away. And at least, because it can take sitting there for an hour just daydreaming. Like, there's a lot.
They're just tinkering around, I find.
Just before something grabs you.
I was writing stuff today, just melodies. Just writing, 8-bar melodies. Because that's how I prefer to start, or chord progression or something like that. But it might be shit. But you're in that environment. You're working with the tools that you used to. I guess is it like someone that goes to the gym and they have to warm up and stretch? Or if you start lifting stuff, you're going to fucking injure yourself. You're not going to get anywhere.
I mean, like, that's
a really shit
but like
comparison.
Well, I'm thinking about it now. Like,
you can't just turn everything off and go, right, flow, create now.
If I haven't been going to the gym a lot or whatever, and then I start, you're literally, for the whole 20 minutes you might be doing it, you're thinking about it, and you're like, and then you leave early because you just couldn't get into it. But once you're in the flow and you're going more often and you're doing like longer sessions, in the middle of it, you realize you're not even thinking. It's like where you jump in the car to drive somewhere and suddenly you arrive at the destination and you're like,
I've done tracks like that before.
Yeah,
where I don't even think I've got the technical knowledge. I don't know, now I do, but back then, like the correct music theory or this or that. There was one particular, I wrote a track years ago when I lived in Kuta, and it was like I was just being, almost just like you're being guided, just completely in the zone. I think it took about 6 hours. It was really good, and at the end of it, the time had just gone.
Yeah,
it's something that athletes can switch on and off. And
did you find that track? Did you show many people that track?
No, I think I put it. Actually, I could say this now because the contract's finished. I put it out as a free download,
right?
And then someone got a whiff of it, and then it got signed to someone.
Right. Okay. So it did speak.
Did all right. I mean, in hindsight, it's definitely not the best thing I did, but it was the energy that went into it.
This is my
felt
point.
Great, and it just went. Every delay or every reverb or everything clicked. It was like there was just a roadmap that. Not even, because you'd have to read a map. It was just...
It's the zone, man. That's what everyone talks about.
You're the mushroom guy. I imagine it's like that.
I'm the mushroom guy. All right. Yeah. I've finally earned the title. I've finally got there.
You just you don't look at the time. There's no distraction. It's just flowing.
It's the zone.
I tell you what, by the end, when I finished it, I was completely fucked and completely passed out, fast asleep.
Yeah, right.
Just spent.
But they're the ones that I find people connect with the most. You write them in 10 minutes and they come from a place that is so beyond your brain. It just flows out. It's it's what they call soul, right? It comes from an emotive place that's somewhere from this thing that we call our soul, where it's just speaking through us, which is why a lot of those, like I remember as a kid, an example of why rock music was satanic when I grew up in the church was the fact that a lot of big rock stars would say, the song was just written through me. Like I remember reading a interview with Led Zeppelin, and one of the guys was saying that Stairway to Heaven, it was just like it was written through me. And I remember my mother saying, that's proof that Satan's writing it. But like, it's so funny because,
now we know they just stole it off someone else after all these years.
It's pure. All that means is it's that moment where you're in the zone.
Yeah.
And it's just flowing through you. You're not thinking about it. Just because people recognize.
That's why it's important to fuck that, super hypocrite here, just to get offline and block that time to do stuff like that.
It's hard. Like, it's funny being up north. Although I'm alone and I'm in a village and I'm got so much downtime, I find it even harder to get off the internet up there, and to, you think it'd be easier.
Isn't that weird?
But I mean, the thing is, I spend hours caught in the zone, like we're talking about writing and stuff. So I go through a lot of time where I don't look at my phone or whatever because I get into a project. But while I'm not doing that, I'm so often checking my phone because it makes me feel connected to the rest of the world, and I start to...
Fuck that.
Yeah, it's silly. I should be getting off it more, but I've found lately that I've been looking at my phone a bit too much. Just to...
Yeah,
I think probably because it's been a year or so.
Bounce mine off the wall.
Yeah, right. So you do look at it a lot.
Too much, way too much.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And is it work related, or it's just purely...
No, it's just...
Yeah.
Pointless.
What are you looking at? Are you looking at Instagram? Yeah.
I deleted Facebook years ago. I don't even know why I'm looking at it.
I don't even look at Facebook anymore.
I don't use the app. I use it in Safari on the iPhone, and I log out. So anytime you get that... Checking Instagram now is like when you need a cigarette, or you get that bang, like, boom.
Yeah.
Like, oh, just check it.
Yeah.
And it almost feels like
that
naughty, like,
of
just check.
flicking.
But if
you've
used it in Safari, like on the phone, and you've logged out, it's fucking clunky.
Okay.
Super clunky to get back in. It's a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
But if you do, is a tip for everyone. If you use it in Safari and you can be bothered, like delete the app and use it in Safari, you don't get any ads. So
but you might only upload though, right? When it's from Safari. I mean, so you're not uploading, are you?
I'm not a fucking poster. I'm a scroller, not a poster.
I'm not a poster.
If I'm going to post anything, I'll install it. It'll take 2 minutes. Download it, post, delete the app again.
Yeah, right.
That's it.
Okay.
That's it. But you don't get any ads. So even if you refresh, you're only going to see what's been posted, like the most recent, rather than if you refresh on the phone, the algorithm or whatever is just going to spoon feed you more what you want. I've just seen somebody posted a story, reposted someone else's story. A guy in the UK was I don't even know how he found it, but using Instagram, and every post you scroll through, he had his phone. This might be fake, but I don't think it was. It looked fucking real, and he had a video camera, like an old 1080p
as long as it looked real, mate.
Video camera. That's it. It must be fucking real then, just like the virus.
Virus, UFOs.
He's got his phone in his hand, and he says, like, watch this. So it's always taking pictures of your face. It has access to the front-facing camera when it's not on, and he gets this video. Fuck me, I sound like Eddie Bravo conspiracy.
Okay, let's explain.
But bear with me. I should repost this video.
Wait, go through this again. He's got two phones.
No, he's got his phone, and he's got like a Sony Handycam.
Oh, okay.
Right, so he opens the Instagram app.
Yep.
I fucking turn into David Icke on a podcast.
Come on, Ike. Let's lizard people this
not
up.
Not me, not at all.
So
get your vaccine. And he films the phone. I'm doing the actions here and everything.
He's filming the phone with the Handycam.
With the Handycam, and every time he scrolls up, you see these Handycams. They pick up like I don't know if it's like an ultraviolet.
They pick up if the camera's being used.
Exactly. I don't know if it's a LiDAR thing or whatever.
And it's reading the expressions.
And he scrolls, so it takes a picture of your face to see how you react. How you're reacting.
No,
fucking horrible.
No, this is
real.
And
every post he does, you can see it go like behind the iPhone screen.
That's definitely not bullshit, because it was.
I gotta show you this while we're on.
I reckon it was 2 years ago that
I logged in. This is what I mean. It's super
I read about that being part of the latest technology, that it was constantly using your camera to gauge your reactions to things.
Fuck that.
But
we all just give into it so easily because
that's
we want to see what
cracks me up about
do.
the vax thing, right? This whole
here we go.
Yeah, here we go. But the people that are complaining about Bill Gates putting a microchip into the vax, the really extreme conspiracy theories of
personally, he does it.
Yeah, he personally in his cave in his basement under the red light.
I'm gonna let you watch this
magazine pictures cut out and
it's
montage
not a short
on his
video.
wall.
How long is it? Is it too long to watch here?
The people that are saying that there's a chip in the vaccine that is going to track your location.
Can we watch this while we're on now? I want you to watch it. I want to see your reaction.
Bloody beautiful.
Well, I'll tell you who's going to see my reaction.
Mic.
Your camera's going to see my reaction.
Something random, which we all know, right? You know, like on your laptop.
Hold it near the mic so people can pick it up.
Bro, because we think that people are looking at us. We all know that Instagram look at us through our front camera.
I need to get young Jamie with another beer.
I think it was in the press recently that they were taking pictures with the front camera. I have evidence that they still are doing that. So I've got this camera here. It's like an old...
I've got one of those up at the house. I'm going to try this.
Infrared. So I filmed the top of
Oh my God, it's the same one I've got up there.
Watch this.
And stuff last night, and my camera is just going like taking pictures of my face. So it's obviously seeing my reaction to getting these notifications, feeding it back into my algorithm. So it'd be like, oh yeah, you like that? Look, he's smiling, you like that?
Anyone that works at Instagram or whatever will just be like, yeah, what? It's been happening.
You fucking agreed to
You
it.
fucking, yeah.
But we must be helping with facial recognition technology and shit. But yeah, so
Is he doing it?
It does.
Show you. I'll just have to record this because I can't be arsed offloading this clip off this thing.
Proper
I'll just
mank.
film it and show you.
Manchester boy.
Right, so
Manchester.
I just launched Instagram. Taking a picture there.
Oh, mate.
You see it?
Yeah.
Now I'll go over to my activity.
It's full on when you actually see it, hey?
Just start scrolling. And you
Ah, taking another photo.
flash, couple of flashes, checking my reactions.
That's crazy, hey? Like,
Fuck that.
Yeah, as soon as you see it as plain as day, that makes me want to get a sticker and put it over the camera on my phone.
Yeah, I thought about it. There is on my Mac. I think there is on a lot of people.
And it's
But
weird
yeah,
because...
I use it in Safari like that, and I mean, it might be a good tip for people. And then it's inside like the website. It's a real fucking pain to use. But even once you fucking quench your thirst, you log in, and then you'll scroll like 3 posts, and then you're like, I remember why I logged the fuck out of this thing. YouTube
It's
YouTube
insane, like-
tutorials and stuff, because that's like a positive rabbit hole. Like production tutorials or music theory tutorials, circular.
But that's the
fits
thing, like it's not like when it gives you things you like, you're upset about it. Because it does engage you. That's the whole point. Like when I scroll on Instagram, I've got a whole style of art and dark, fucked up, weird shit I love looking at.
I've noticed.
Yeah. and like now, I love my search feed because I don't even have to put in a keyword anymore. I just go to the
shows
search
you, like,
thing and
satanic
scroll,
and devil
it's
baby
just,
blood.
Yeah, it's just deep down the fucking fucked up double-headed rabbit hole.
That's it.
And I love it because of that. But then at the same time, the concept of that being all algorithmed and the whole concept of the larger picture of where the world's going and where that's taking the world freaks the shit out of me. But it's the slow, just step by step. We all just dip our toes in the water. It's the frog in the boiling water, right?
Frog in the pot.
The frog in the pot. Yeah. What is it? The frogs don't get out because they don't realise how hot it's getting until it's
if
too
you're
late.
in like a hot bath and then it warms up slowly to boiling point, you're going to be all right. But if you were to jump in at boiling point, you're going to notice.
Yeah. And frogs don't get out in time, right? Isn't that a thing with
Never
frogs?
tried it, but I'm sure fucking
it's
PETA or whatever animal rights are going to be on this now. You're in trouble.
Yeah, mate.
Oh God.
Let's boil up some frogs. Do you want me to grab a beer?
Frogs.
We can-
Frog lives matter. Fuck! I didn't have a drink for a couple of years. I stopped. I had this theory that I drank enough throughout all these party years to be done. But when it's something like this, it's fun.
I never.
There's that an
cease-
element of guilt with it. Like if you quit something for a streak of time.
The fact that you just said that means there's an element of guilt with it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny. Like I don't drink when I'm by myself ever. So up north, I don't drink.
Okay.
But as soon and because of that, I think, next time I'm with people that are drinking, I won't need to drink. But that is bullshit. As soon as I'm with
Just not into it
someone,
anymore.
and
But this is nice. It's nice to have like a.
I just find it hard to once there's drink there.
It's like Phil said.
I can't
came
drink
home for
slowly.
a video shoot, and he's like, "I'm just gonna smash a few beers." I'm like, fuck that.
Yeah, no, I never do that. Like I don't
cup
get
of
home
tea,
and have a drink
Couple
ever.
of cigs. I bet I can't smoke in here, can I?
Like the other night, Day. Do you know Day 2? A guy called Day 2.
Who?
I used to manage
R2 Day 2.
R2 Day 2. Daytona. He used to manage Superman is Dead. He's sort of
A friend of mine used to manage him many years ago.
Yeah, right, okay.
But not day
Well,
2D2.
Day 2 D2. He's very well known on the music scene here, but he had a birthday party up north, and I popped down. They were like 10 minutes from where I was staying, just coincidentally, which is bizarre. I went and caught up, had a whiskey, and man, woke up just with the most brutal hangover. And as I was driving there, I was like,
What whiskey was it?
I know there'll
Do
be
you even
whiskey.
know?
No, it was a good whiskey because he generally.
Because I was thinking about bringing some today. As a non-drinker, I got a bottle of like
Listen to the
25-year-old Balvenie, a litre of it in
Why are you
the
telling me this
studio.
now?
It was a gift 5 years ago, so it's actually, I think it's 30 years old now.
Where the fuck's the whiskey, mate?
Don't know. I keep waiting for a special occasion.
Not
New
special
Year
enough.
was fucking
Do you want me
grim.
wrapped in a bow or something? What's
Maybe.
going on, mate?
I'm waiting. I looked at it the other
an
day.
apocalyptic pandemic where we haven't seen each other for years.
Yeah, what needs
Not
to
good
happen
enough.
for this whiskey
Not
to get
good enough.
cracked?
Jesus Christ.
I didn't know how this was going to go.
It can go
And just for the
anywhere.
record, before I got here, I texted him from home. I said, how long is this going to be? He said, like 40, 45 minutes. I don't think that's going to be the case.
It's never, no.
How much drive space you got? How much drive space you got on your fucking rinky-dink little phone?
I always say, just give it short time because fuck the pressure of
Short time.
short time, long time, short time, fun time.
Wow. You go. I go with you, handsome man.
Ah, shit. Fucking hell, man. So who
What?
do you still catch up with? Like, in
Not
terms
many.
of
Like my best friends they left. Hugo, they were, both.
Hugo's out, is he?
Yeah, he's gone back to Barcelona.
Oh, well.
So check this out. He's always been super smart, but he's always wanted to be a producer and DJ and stuff. He's done quite well. But just over a year ago in January, out of curiosity, like on the knife edge of a pandemic, one of his cousins is like the fucking chief of finance at Google.
Jesus.
Yeah, unbelievable.
God,
Yeah, it's like, why didn't you choose that path?
Right.
So they had a chat, and he said, yeah, you got to learn to code and do web development or something like that. It's what I did. I started, and I'm at Google. So he started looking online at I'm not going to name drop these like websites and courses on like at discount codes or something like that. Now, I've already mentioned, I think I mentioned
just
MeUndies
put this
and
code in,
Yeah.
and Damian will get a discount.
The code word Athron for your
Mushroom King.
That's it. 50% off your next button mushrooms at Festive. So he did an online course, like a proper one, a long one for web development, and he learned to code from scratch. And the goal was that he'd learn.
This is Hugo's cousin? Oh, this is Hugo.
This is Hugo.
Really?
So he sat
This
in the
is
studio,
recently?
not making any music, every day for like 6 hours, just tapping away doing this course.
Coding.
Coding websites, like front end. Fucking
Jeez.
genius from scratch.
Really?
He'd be sending me these, look at this, I just made this, I made that, and Shopify and clever shit.
Right.
And then when he was
Just
about to leave, he
prepping
was
up for a
super
pandemic.
nervous. He was going to go back to Barcelona in the middle of a pandemic and try and get an internship at 30 years old to try and be a web developer whose whole career has been music production and DJing. Sure enough, someone took him. He, proved he could do it. Did some work, and then he interviewed for another company. They did a technical interview, whatever the fuck that is. I just learnt this term recently, where they show him a bunch of code for a website. They completely scramble it and shit on it, and he has like 10 minutes to fix it, and he did. It's like
Wow.
something out of a movie, like a safecracker.
Jesus, yeah.
Like
that does make it sound exciting.
Yeah.
Like there's so many boring aspects
he did
to
it,
a lot of work.
and he
but-
got the job.
Yeah, right, okay.
So now he's like a
Now
web
he's breaking
developer.
into
And then
banks.
there's my friend Lloyd, like my best friend from Liverpool. He went back. His wife's from here. They're about, yeah. He was applying for jobs all the time. He'd always struggled here through being a Cocoon and then working at fucking Finn's. And then he was working for me. And he's a football coach. He's a Scouser football player. His middle name's Gerard, which says it all. And he got a coaching job in Torquay in the UK. So he left, and now he's a football coach. So
Damn, left field.
Who else is
You
it?
almost went, like prior to this whole situation, you were looking at a bit of a left field turn, weren't you?
So I was looking at a bunch, yeah.
Western Australia, is it?
Yeah, I was looking at WA. Electrical engineering. I thought I'd do electrical. But all this was based on getting in. All this stems from like W Sydney was going to open, and my old GM's going to open that, but it's impossible to get in unless you're like a neurosurgeon or a fucking carpenter.
To get in, yeah, right.
Like,
Okay.
you're not,
or picking fruit.
No, not even. You're not getting in.
You can't even pick
You
fruit
can do that on a
anymore.
working holiday visa if you're 29.
Okay.
But there's no way I'm
So
getting
it's really that hard.
So in the end, after that plan, this is where we talked about this on that long call. I decided that, like, all right, I don't need to do W over there, but it'd be a nice place for me and my family to live. I was just
dreaming.
Just delirium, like mid-pandemic. Watched too many full moons go up and down again.
Might just cruise over to Australia.
You
Just
start
pop
getting
in.
ideas. You're on I tell people that I'm kind of backed into a corner in paradise. Fucking great place, Bali. It's amazing. But in what I do, it's like you're super limited. And if tourism and I guess entertainment completely bottoms out, you're kind of fucked. What are we going to do?
It's one of the
Open a wire room.
Well, one of the hardest things here is that once you've got a KETAS or a working visa,
Kitap.
it gives you you're KETAPing it up, mate. You're like you're in with the flow. But hang on, wait, okay. So with a normal working KETAS, you can only do one. Like, as in, if I've got my musician's performing visa and I've got no gigs, I can't just open a warunga or well, I can, but but I'm not allowed. I'm not supposed to do any other work.
Not really. I don't know if I can. The thing.
So KETAP, you still have to say what you're doing, and it can only be that
I'm not
one
sure.
thing.
I think with it, I could work like a normal local job. Like, imagine me
Nasi
selling you the
goreng, thanks, mate.
Yeah, exactly.
Just, 2 mee gorengs, nasi.
Jingo,
Boom.
Marlboro Lights. I could do that.
I saw there's a
the
spot on the
main-
corner down here, actually. You could kick one open,
No, it's look alike. It's not me.
reopen my hot dog stand.
Side hustle, they call it.
The one night
kids,
stand.
That's what I could call the shop.
That
couldn't
was my warung's name.
it? Fuck.
Up in Uluwatu.
Oh, that didn't work out, so I'll take the name.
It lasted about one night stand.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
So this isn't official advice or tips with visas, but a KETAS for an impresario, whatever that means, like an artist, DJ, photographer, model, all that stuff is 6 months. I don't want to talk about this because I'm not giving out official advice. Look, if you play an instrument or play other people's records for money, which I still think is the greatest scam in the world,
Decent scam.
you 6 months. Your stay permit is the KETAS, but that's not your work permit.
The
Your work
KETAP's
permit-
what? KETAP allows you to stay for
5.
Every 5 years. You got to prove that you're still married.
renew.
You haven't killed your wife.
No, that's not true.
What?
That's
you don't
not
have to
true.
prove you're still married.
No, the first one is. Put it this way,
You have
without
killed-
going into too much depth.
You have killed your wife, haven't you?
No,
I want proof of life.
I call it now. What the fuck do you want? Your second one is like a lifetime. It's like a
Your second wife? Or his-
no. He's pissed already. I'm a bit giddy. Like your second KETAP is like your lifetime one. It's like
Right.
a green card for life, like that. But the first one, you got to be nice.
Man, it's a tough deal for me because I'm
But that
so
doesn't mean you
scared
can
of
work.
marriage.
That means you've still
Like,
got to.
imagine
and
trying to
so
balance.
you fucking should be.
Imagine trying to find that midway ground between desperately wanting to have a visa here for life and being this much fear of commitment that like
I think
it's
you're
almost
sending
like
out the wrong message here.
Two
I did
polar
it-
opposite magnets. Just
I was married long before I got that KETAP.
You were married before you realised you had a fear of commitment. Or?
No. Anyway, make sure you got a work permit. Your KETAS is not a work permit. So yeah. You have to-
Okay.
you have to have your
I mean, that's always
now
been
those prices have, from what I gather, have fucking rocketed.
dude. It's out of control. Even a
I
social.
have a friend in Northern Ireland that wanted to just get out of there and come here. Now, the start to midway through the pandemic, even like into the third quarter of last year, you could still get in as like an entertainer or a DJ when things opened up a little bit. But now a friend of mine's applied for the visa and it's just put on hold because whoever processes these knows for a fact that, well, there's not supposed to be any events or anyone
Yeah, I
performing.
just can't imagine. Like, I've seen a couple
Where's
of
the
people.
demand? Where's the demand to grant you a work permit to
Yeah, I
bring
saw
your
a
value?
couple of people, singer musicians, sort of putting the word out on like a Facebook site or whatever.
Got to be real.
And saying, hey guys, just trying to work out the best way to do the key task and all that.
No,
I'm
it's
like,
not happening.
I was just like,
My
what?
friend's paid and it's just on hold.
Like, how are you even thinking about even being here as a working musician at the moment from outside Indonesia? I mean, all the work's completely dried up, and then if there is any work, it's paying so little because of the whole situation that
It's pretty bad. But
of course, it's just going to the locals and anyone that
Good.
that lives here and needs it. Yeah.
So that's work permits for you.
I'm glad we had that work permit.
Yeah. All the shit we talked about over those brunches, we ended up on fucking work permits and stay permits. Those are good chats, and we should have recorded them.
Oh, mate.
But I think we would have got in trouble.
There would
Especially
have been some carnage.
that was like pre-cancel culture. We'd definitely be fucked.
It was
we'd
just
definitely
coming
be
into
fucked
cancel
now.
culture, actually. I think we were, I mean, fuck, cancel culture just does my brain.
What's that about?
It's too much. It's just too much.
I think it's people behind keyboards that, you can't, legally, you can't, it's like gang mentality, I guess. You can't walk up to people in the street and just beat them up.
You know, it's funny though. Like
Some people can, but it's like that. If it's online, you can take anyone down for any
it's
fuck
definitely
up.
got a lot to do with not being in front
I
of
check
someone.
I shouldn't check the news, but even stuff like BBC website now, the news every day. If you look in like the top red, like the top 10 stories, is someone apologized. Someone has apologized
for saying something.
Yeah,
that
Robert De Niro apologizes for farting in a lift or something like that. He offended someone.
He offended all the taxi
an
driver
apology.
fans. It's all over.
The devil is going on.
Yeah. It's gotten to the point
Thin skin.
where it's just...
It's not nice being picked on, but you've got to have thicker skin these days. Is
Well,
it like
it's also about, like, there's a big difference between being personally picked on and then taking offense from something that someone said in just a general joking way that, like, there's so many people being busted just having a laugh, man. Comedians are being ripped to shreds.
It's power. Take them down.
Once you start going for comedians, like for saying things
It
that
depends.
you thought
It's
was...
only the smaller ones. Because the heroes like Dave Chappelle don't give a flying.
Well, they don't give a
fuck.
shit. I mean, they're the troopers that are just
They're
like fuck that. I
bulletproof.
mean, they are bulletproof. But I really do think it's. I don't get the feeling that it's the majority of humans that are running the cancel culture. It's the small minority that have the loudest voices on their keyboards and the fastest typing skills when it comes to reactionary behaviour to something that they feel like they want to arc up about. And it's usually people that, like, they really desperately want to have a voice where they don't have one, and the loudest voice for them is a voice of proving who they are by proving what they're offended about.
You shouldn't do that.
Yeah,
You
I mean,
upset me.
often the way to prove who you are
I'm
is
gonna
to
need an
prove.
ashtray in here. Young Jamie, Phil,
Young Jamie,
can I get that? Can you pull up the ashtray, please?
pull up the ashtray on YouTube and.
I'm smoking. It appears to be a non-smoking room.
I totally forgot you didn't.
Thank you very much.
You
can leave that door open. Excuse me.
Yeah, like a huge way for people to prove who they are is by showing their boundaries. And like, one of the fastest ways that you can show your boundaries is by being angry at something that offended you because you're against that thing and you need to prove that that's not right. And that's just causing all these people who don't normally have a chance to be heard to like scream what they think and feel because they're offended by something.
Madness.
And oh man, yeah. But it's losing the.
Is it? Do you think it's like? How can I put this? How can I articulate this correctly? Like, say you're staying in the north of Bali and you're supposedly disconnected, even though you're checking your phone. If your attention's on that, it doesn't really matter, right? So there is all this cancel culture thing, and it can affect people in a really bad way. It can ruin careers, but only if you focus on it. If you're not paying attention to it, then how can I put this and make sense?
Well, that's a big point, is that often things only affect you when you
What do they say? If a tree...
Yeah, if a tree falls on the Pope in when he shits in the woods.
When it shits in the woods.
Definitely kills the Catholic Church. Yes. No, but it's that whole thing that the more you're focused on something and how it affects you, then the more you're going to be offended when it does. Like, instead of just look, what I love is people that know how to take the piss out of themselves. And I find as soon as people can take the piss out of themselves, they've usually got a really good, relaxed attitude towards everyone else and their attitudes. And when someone offends them, they don't get so, like, they're not so worked up about it and make such a hissy fit about it that it actually brings more attention to that insult and gives that person more of a platform.
I think attention's the key word.
Yeah, I mean, I think the more you point at someone, like if you're in a massive crowd and someone does something and no one really noticed, but you want everyone to know. But by you pointing at that person and telling the whole crowd to look at them, that person now has a bigger stage than they had before you pointed at them. If you just sort of laughed at it to your mate and went, yeah, whatever, and like kept walking, there's so often you make a bigger deal out of something just by saying it offended you. And then it becomes this whole over-the-top sort of magnifying glass to that person who didn't really need a bigger pedestal in the first place. Or there's just the point that often you can just let shit roll off your back, and like...
That doesn't happen well, I can't say it doesn't happen anymore. I think it's down to like thicker skin or thin skin.
I mean, it's that... so many people could listen to this conversation and then just arc up and give examples of things where, something really was offensive and it needed to be brought to the table and progress needed to be made. And sure, there's lots of instances where things need to come to an end, certain behaviours and certain attitudes towards groups or whatever. But my point is that generally, if I'm sitting in a room full of people, the people that I'm drawn to the most and the people that I respect the most are the ones that you can give them as much shit as you want and they'll just, not only will they crack up, they'll
give it you back.
And they'll give themselves the same amount of shit. They'll make fun of themselves as fast as anyone else can. And as soon as that happens, it dissipates tension and it dissipates making a big issue out of it that you have to keep focusing on, and you just move on. And it's...
I think people enjoy it. They like stirring up the shit.
They love stirring up the shit. I mean, most people, it is their chance to have a voice.
I think that's what it is.
Especially in a time where, like, everyone's hanging out at home. Like, think about how many more people are sitting at home desperately wanting to connect with the rest of the world and have a statement. And it's funny how when you like when a lot of people are asked if you could have any superpower, what would it be? A lot of people say, the ability to read minds. I can't think of anything. I can't think of anything worse than being able to read people's minds.
Imagine the noise.
Like the noise. Holy shit.
It's bad enough scrolling through a feed.
Yeah, and this is what's happening. This is the thing. Like we are
kind of the same thing.
We are living in a world that is gearing now towards reading minds because of status updates and because of
Imagine trying to censor your own thoughts because it's being broadcast.
Just Black Mirror all over the shop. Like, ooh. Yeah, it's coming. I mean, like Elon Musk, man, talking about the next stages of Neuralink, that shit's out of control.
Did I see it on another famous podcast yesterday?
Obviously a different one.
Well, first they were doing pigs. They did that demo with pigs, but now they've done it. They've linked up a monkey to play video games.
Through a Neuralink system? Oh, really? I haven't seen that.
Yeah. Fucking Super Mario champ.
Okay, explain it. Like he's got
Super Mario chimp.
He's got He's actually plugged into the Matrix through...
I believe so.
Into his brain, into his...
Yeah, and it's playing fucking...
Okay, is he... How does it work? Is he Is he closing his eyes and visualizing shit?
I don't know. I don't know why you do that. I don't know why you just can't play fucking Sonic without being plugged in. I don't know.
Do you remember... Have you seen that movie Strange Days?
I don't think so.
It's a really underrated movie. It was a 95 movie. Ralph Fiennes, Juliette Lewis... that guy that's in all the Heat and all those wicked gangster movies. One of the tough guys in Heat that's in all the movies that you never know his name.
Val Kilmer.
Nah, it's the actor. You know that actor. You never know his name. He's in that fucking amazing scene in Heat. You know it's Heat.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Do you remember the scene where they're in the cafe and the dude that fucked up and killed the guy in the bank robbery, Robert De Niro, is getting angry at him and hitting his head against the wall, and then there's one of the people in the cafe going, "Oh, what's going on over there?" And someone looks at them, and then this tough guy just like tilts his head over and stares down this customer and gives him the. It's such a great scene. Anyway, that actor, he's in Strange Days. Anyway, I digress. Strange Days. It's quite ahead of its time, and I remember seeing it back at it's based on the EVA 2000, where the latest kind of drug or craze is a thing where you wear a headset like under a wig or whatever, and it's plugged into all your neuralistic programming and picks up all your nerves and emotions and whatever, and your visuals as well. And people have experiences, and they film those. I'm
gonna look this up while you're talking about it.
It's really good, man. It's really good. They record those experiences and sell them. And so then
that's happening now.
Yeah, exactly. And then of course that leads to a whole black market of experiences like break and enter, murder, rape, all these horrific crimes that people want to experience without actually committing them.
This guy in the middle.
No, that's Rough Fiends. No, he's always a support actor, so he wouldn't be on the poster.
I'm going to watch this.
He's
tonight,
actually plays a big part. But anyway, look up the cast of Heat. He'll be on there. You'll be like, oh, that guy. No, not that guy.
No, because he's always the second
like
actor.
That too, isn't he? What's his name?
William Fitchner.
See, I wouldn't even know his name, but that.
No, but he's in everything.
Man, yeah, he's in everything.
So I thought you meant him.
No,
this guy.
Not even him.
Jesus Christ, these are all like this is the...
Yeah, it's a big cast. That's him. You recognise him, right, from Heat?
Tom Sizemore.
Tom Sizemore. So I wouldn't have known his name.
No,
he's a great support actor.
He looks like...
He's one of the crew in Heat. He's in fuckloads of movies.
Mafia-looking dude.
Yeah. Tough as fuck.
Go on. Black Market Memories.
Yeah, so like... I don't even know why I went down this road, but I think it's just we are literally heading down this line now. Is that where I was going? Where we're like going to be hooking into this, like we're going to be able to live people's experiences without, like experiences will be recorded and we'll be able to experience them without having to leave the room, which is going to lead to a pretty serious black market. Like imagine the black market.
Yeah,
of experiences you could buy, and if you can, if you like the fastest way to record to program an experience would be to actually have someone do it, right? Like rather than
it goes back to that scene in The Matrix where he wakes up and he's like, "I know kung fu."
Yeah.
So there are positives to it.
Yeah, I'd love to know kung fu. Bring it on. Imagine like the experience of like experiencing death without like falling off a...
No.
No? Just no. No. I wonder how far can you record it? I suppose you can't. Can you record the gate into the next existence? Like, I wonder if there's any point where you can record enough to capture yourself. No, you couldn't, because you're only recording what's going on in your brain. Once your brain shuts down, it's all over. You can't record any kind of next...
We're quite deep now, aren't we? Mate. We're in murky waters.
Well, mate, we're on the second 1.5 beers.
I am. Yeah, for someone who doesn't drink, I'm definitely got a bit of a buzz going on. It's quite nice, this.
Singaraja, mate. This is my hometown these days.
Northern beer.
Yep. Yeah, it's a brave new world. It's crazy.
What do you think this is going to... what's the aftermath of this looking like for like the summer or even early next year? You think it's going to be normal or...
No, I really think that it's going to be a slow think once it's all good again, there could be a rush, like you said, of all those people that are just fucking hanging for a holiday.
Yeah, I mean, one of our guys at the hotel, he's fascinating to be around. He's like a super optimist. Sometimes his positivity is overwhelming, but he believes that as soon as Australians can fly and come back to Indonesia, there's just going to be a boom.
I agree, but I don't think that's going to happen for another year. I don't think that's going to be like in 6 months.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like June or something, but it does feel like it's going to be staggered, right?
I can't imagine in June Australia will be like, okay, you know,
you can go to a country.
You can all leave and do whatever you want.
Haven't handled it very well.
I mean, that
lied about it in the beginning.
Just cannot see that happening. I mean, Australia is really stringent. I mean, it's still. I can't afford to go back to Oz. Like I got offered a gig in Uluru, just playing at a bar there, and I had to weigh it up against the cost.
You were going to go back for a bar gig?
Well, it was, to be honest, it was all timed with my sister's pregnant, so I was like, this could be a good chance of going back, doing some work, catching up with my sister for when she gives birth and all that. And I was just weighing it all up. And then I was like, fuck, I've got to take into consideration paying $3,000 for quarantine.
Yeah, I've got a friend that's just gone back for like the second time.
To $3,000 quarantine.
Yeah, he works on boats.
Tab.
And he's had to go from here to Perth, and he's in a hotel room for 2 weeks. In the room.
Yeah. I mean, the actual 2 weeks in a room doesn't bother me. I'm so used to it now. That's fine. I've just got my music and my video editing and shit. But $3,000, that's not exciting.
No, you need 30.
Yeah. So for Australia to suddenly just go, yeah, you don't need to quarantine anymore, and
no, it's going to be like a trickle.
Come back.
Right.
It'll be a trickle. It'll be a slow. You know, there's going to have to be the vaccine. That's going to have to be fully implemented before Australia.
They rolled it out. I guess the good thing about there is Australia's population still super low. It's super tiny population. So they can get that done
That's
quick.
why it's such a nanny state, man. I mean, Australia is so unbelievably conservative and controlled. It feels like a nanny state when you live somewhere like here that's so chaotic as Bali is. You go back there and you really feel that it is a small population that is very well maintained as far as government regulations and traffic
Same in
rules.
Singapore.
Singapore's
They got no cases now.
serious example of that. I mean, Singapore doesn't feel that much. Singapore's full on conservative in that regard, but Sydney feels very similar. And it's just that
I've got friends there that are throwing boat parties every week and
Throwing
doing
what?
DJ gigs. Boat
parties. Yeah, actually, boat parties are a great thing, and that's one great thing about Sydney.
They're doing all right down there.
Is the harbour.
At least one thing.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of beautiful... Sydney's...
Not to shit on Sydney. I don't want to upset any
to shit on Sydney.
Sydney-siders.
I love Sydney by day. I love Melbourne by night.
My experience there was just unfortunate. I just couldn't get any traction there, or it couldn't work. It was a shame because I dreamed of living there for years. But I should have given it a bit more time, I guess.
It's a big city. It definitely takes time.
It's expensive now. Even my piano teacher, she's fucking late 50s, early 60s. Says fucking they're about to buy like their first home, I think, and it's millions of dollars. Man, buying a home in Sydney now, you can imagine. Yeah. I mean, especially. Do you think this is interesting for the audience? I'm loving it, mate. There's a pandemic and the cost of living in Sydney. And they're talking about the cost of. They're talking about boat parties in Sydney. Let's talk more about uploading your fucking memory and stuff like that. Yeah. Can you imagine? It's going to be on your thumbprint on your phone or your Face ID, and you'll just be able to upload your consciousness. I think it's going to be It's going to be rapid. Like this, it's exponential for sure. The rate at which there's going to be weird shit going on, like that we will like when we're 80, we are going to be just going, what the fuck? I think about that. Like my grandparents, with these kids, what are they doing? Say, what were my grandparents? My grandma died when she was 80. My granddad's 85 now. So if you think about the technology that's come together in all those years, from the fucking television, color television. I don't know. Not fucking. I think cars were before that, but
let's get the timelines right here.
Fuck, when I was a kid,
color television. Then they invented the wheel.
The fucking guy there used to be a horse-drawn fucking shit. Now I'm showing my age. A horse-drawn cart with fucking coal on it. You'd have to buy off the coal guy.
The house I grew up in.
For the fire. Here we fucking go off on another fork.
I'd dig in the front yard of my house and find coal. And
from where? Because for everyone listening, the host of this podcast sounds like he's from Australia, but I know he holds an American passport.
Yeah, I do.
Secret agent.
Sneaky motherfucker. Dual citizen.
Have I just dropped you in the shit?
Not at all.
Okay.
Not at all. No.
But yeah, imagine watching all that from families gathering around listening to the fucking wireless, a radio,
that kind of
TV,
a leap.
to video, to fucking phonograph, to records, to CDs.
The fact that the biggest computer in the world, when they put the man on the moon, was nowhere near as fast and capable as your phone. Like, nothing like it.
Crazy.
So, yeah, we'll be...
Like by mobile phone's the big Motorola
that's things. Kind of good news for us, though, right? Like, that means that by the time we're 80, we could be lying... Instead of, like... let's hope.
You might look the same when you're 80.
Well, thanks to technology. I might be just lying in
banging lines of stem cells.
Just
black market.
Literally mainlining DNA into my eyeball. That's just keeping me.
See, it's not all bad.
I'll just be some
censor your thoughts.
Amoeba sort of thing floating in a big jelly sack.
That's Neo.
Just
That's it.
living the drip. I mean, I wouldn't want to get out of that jelly sack.
That's it. Do you want to eat
Let's
that
keep
steak?
It going.
Red pill, blue pill.
The 40 virgins, mate. Why would you need to die and go to some bizarre place for 40 virgins when you can just lie in a gel sack and live your virtual dream for the rest of your... Just stay online, mate. Stay online.
Biting my tongue. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah? Okay. Yeah.
I agree. I concur.
Concur away.
Yeah.
So what would you fear the most out of a future where we're plugged into that level?
I don't know. I think there's a lot of people that have got a lot more dirt than I have. My shit's kind of boring.
Where do you think music's going to be going by then?
Google have already released a bunch of plugins that do AI stuff inside Ableton or Logic. Some people love it, but it sounds like shit. I guess it can only improve over time.
That whole conversation we had before about being in the zone and writing a song where the more technical you make it and the less it just comes from that moment in the zone where it came from your soul.
Yeah.
The less it connects with people. Do you think that like AI
I don't think
can write music that's going to really connect with people?
And say what AI can or cannot do. But there's something going back to that flow state where things just click. And see, when it does click, are you drawing from experience and all the music that you've listened to? Because an AI can listen to your life's worth of music in a minute, but it can't write a track the same. It can write chord progressions or theory, I guess, 1, 4, 5, whatever. But can it do it? So can it?
I won't say his name, but there's a DJ that's worked here a lot who I used to... No, you don't act like you know who I'm talking about.
No, I don't.
Okay. I used to gig at a venue a lot and I'll play a set before he jumped on the decks. And I remember him saying to me once, I asked him if he wrote any of his own music, and he said, no, but I'm about to buy Ableton and start writing. And I said, but you've never written music before. And he said, no, but I've listened to music and played music as a DJ all my life. So I'll be able to do it, no problem. But
that's not true.
Exactly. I was like...
But a very successful DJ producer friend of mine doesn't know music theory. And he writes fucking hits.
Yeah,
he's like,
sure, but that's like saying I've eaten food all my life, so I'm going to open a 5-star restaurant because obviously I'll know how to cook it, amazing meals. Mm-hmm. I don't think AI, just by knowing that, like putting all the hits in over the years, is going to be able to bring out a beautiful, soulful track.
You see, I have this fucking gripe with. There's been a trend the last few years about modular synthesis. This you probably lose half your audience now. Modular synthesis. It looks like something off fucking Doctor Who.
Synthesis?
No, but a lot of people
Off.
bought into it because it's lots of knobs and wires and it looks cool. But 99% of the people doing it, I've got an eyelash in my eye. It sounds like what's your mate called? R2D2.
Day 2.
R2D2.
Oh, yes.
See, I'm
Can't
doing that
wait to call him
Chappelle
R2
link
Day
back.
2.
Why has no one ever called you mate R2 Day 2?
Someone must have. I can't believe I never have.
That's rubbish.
I always just call him Day 1 or Day 3.
You need friends with more humour.
Jesus.
But a lot of people bought into that modular shit. And it just bleeps and fucking squeaks. It's rubbish. Now, even as I'm telling you this story, I don't know how I got onto it in the first place, which is great. But there was only a couple of people who can write. Like, it sounds like AI music. Bip, boop, 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 boop. It sounds like Pong on a fucking Atari. It's rubbish.
That's what I was about to say.
It's rubbish. But some friends of mine and some other people can actually write. They can use it all to write chords and leads and bass lines
This is
and
the
make
thing.
it all work.
But
there's a lot of people. One of these very successful producers that is very good with modular synths sent me a clip of someone the other day, some very drab-looking dude with this little modular synthesizer, and the WhatsApp message said, "I want to hit him in the face with a shovel." And let me see if I can pull this up and play you what they were making. So this is like AI music. Seb, let me find this. Oh, fuck. I'm going to lose this now. I need it. How many messages ago was it?
Got the dog
Instagram. I just want to hit this guy in the face with a shovel. I'm fucking logged out of Instagram.
Oh, of course
there we go.
are.
You see how we loop back there?
Mate.
I'm not logging in. But there's something to be said for like soul in music. Whether you've got that back catalogue in your head, which a computer, supercomputer can read in a minute. Like there's the famous chess thing where like the Google AI beat.
There's a big difference between a game that's based on very
strategy,
on strategy, to a song or a creative thing that connects with people because of that emotion. But
at the same time as I'm saying this, I feel like I don't know. I feel like it will be able to do it. I wonder if
there's two types
producers
of
and
music.
engineers will stay.
But there's two types of music. I mean, mainstream pop music to me is very much has moved away from that soul thing that I'm talking about, and it creates instant hits.
Yeah, but it's still a feeling.
Catchy, but a lot of it's like catchy. Catchy instant mainstream pop hits. I think could be written by AI. The ones that last for up to a week on the charts because they just get stuck in your head like an ad jingle. I think ad jingles will be written by AI easily. Like it's just. There's a formula to that stuff that doesn't have to be soulful. It's about getting caught in your head. It's not about connecting to it on a soul level. But there's the element of songs that involve that poetic, emotive feeling where the reason you relate to it is because you think whoever wrote that has been through an experience,
painful or happy,
that caused an emotion that I relate to. I've probably been through the same experience as whoever wrote that. You'll never. I just don't think you'll feel that from something that was written by a computer. Just don't think you're ever going to relate to it in that way. But I don't doubt that a jingle or a really get stuck in your head tune. I don't doubt that could be written by AI. Have you ever listened? Like I know there are programs now that.
See, I should have
do it, but
obviously I didn't know we'd touch on this, but I should know that I know there are 3 Google AI plugins. Definitely losing an audience here. One's like maybe melody, one's something else, and one's something else. And I know friends of mine that have kind of, I'm not going to say fallen for it, but they've done the Instagram post saying Google AI plugins are fucking amazing. And I don't know if I tried it. I can't remember. But I have a suspicion that I downloaded it. Philip.
What's going on, mate?
Doing a podcast. Bro.
Imagine if young Jamie just kicked the radio on in the background.
I remember trying it, or I've watched the YouTube video or something, and was very underwhelmed. But it's early stages. I see what you're saying, but it could develop over time.
Yeah, I still find.
Can you
really...
simmer a song? I mean, think of a massive, like, timeless hit from any genre. Like, I don't know.
It's funny. Like, I remember a while ago, Stewie from The Beat.
Shout out to Stu again.
Yeah, big Stu. He very much. He used to be he's a big lover of old school rock and roll and songwriting, all that kind of stuff. And then he did a big twist into the electronic scene, and then he sort of lost his, not that he lost his love for the old songwriting, but he became very much into electronic music. And I remember we used to argue about this a lot, like especially just before I went on that big States run 6 years ago. He was saying he would always just, have a go and say rock and roll is dead, mate. It's dead. It's over. Like, and
Go on.
And I started to be concerned about that, just with the whole way electronic music's come in and the whole scene of the face of music has changed. But then when I went to the States and I did a tour across the States for 2 months, played in a lot of dive bars and and hung out in a lot of dive bars and all sorts of places. The biggest thing that struck me was how unbelievably alive real rock and roll band songwriting music was. And despite how big electronic music had become, man, I'd be in bars or wherever or in cafes, and there'd be like 21-year-olds sitting there singing along to Led Zeppelin and the Doors, and it was still really, really, really current.
Do you think that's part of being here for so long?
That's what my assumption was. I remember thinking,
still a big world
and I remember
out
saying
there.
that to Stewie. I was like, dude, it's a real perception based on being in Bali that is such a transient electronic party island where electronic
music,
music
scope of the world in the music scene.
Yeah, because it's not driven by that. It doesn't have the long-term Western culture of rock and roll music infused in all its bars and its history to still be playing that stuff in a reminiscent way that then the next kid grows up with it, and then the next kid grows up with it. I still think that and you see that with the cycle of music. You still this resurgence with that like old school sort of 60s, 70s sounding rock and roll suddenly kicks back in again. The Black Keys, man, like
psychedelic rock, like Tame Impala.
Yeah, it does. It comes back around, and I think that a big reason for that is that thing that we keep going back to. It's the soul in it. It's oh my God, that person.
Like a feeling.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, I guess we'll find out when we do part 2 of this.
Yeah.
If
from AI
has written a good track
big
yet.
pod gel Neuralink.
That's it.
Beds when we're 80. Yeah, mate. We'll be living the dream.
I guess
what do you reckon? You want another beer, or do you want to keep going? Or
yeah, I'll have a little fill up there.
I mean,
I feel like we had more zip early on in the podcast.
We can wind it up.
We're on a tangent.
There's no.
How many of these episodes you done now?
This is only I've only done like 5 or 6 podcasts. We've got 2 in the barrel now to go out.
I should have done your rooftop one, not as a performer, because that'd be pretty fucking boring.
Well, we wanted to do these.
I like the one that you did with G.
Sunset
Shout
session.
out to G, the Dog Dragon man. Dog Dragon massive. Yeah, just drinking whiskey on the rooftop. Do you miss that house?
Mate, miss it big time. I mean, it was like anything, when something ends on a good note, you never want it to, but it puts it in a really good place. It keeps it locked in a special place in your mind, and it'll always stay there. And that house was such a great house. It's where we started the Bali Rooftop. It's where it was a real drop-in centre for people just to come around and jam and, mate, get in there.
Athron's going to keep you company.
Run! You got to give me a topic to crap on about. While
my legs still work.
Oh, mate, we're getting old. Oh, yeah, you're going to have to invade Phil's room down there to the left. Thanks for sticking around, people. if you have, you're still there, you're still with me on the podcast. What's going on, Phyllis? Jump on the mic, mate. We're still rolling. Yeah, mate.
Just save this.
We're still rolling, though. You didn't stop it, did you?
No.
How's it going, man? Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
good.
good, mate. What's going on in your pandemic world?
Oh, just a little bit dusty today, so I'm just laying on the bed.
What are you dusty from,
Listening to our podcast, mate.
Which podcast are you listening to?
Mark Maron. What the fuck?
All right, which one?
Tim Allen.
Oh, Tim Allen. That'd be a good one.
That's the latest one. Yeah, it's quite
Oh,
cool.
nice. I just listened to Sam Neill.
Oh, yeah, I listened to that the other day.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was quite cool. Actually, my friends were just on his farm recently.
Oh,
I
really?
saw photos of them. They were actors. They're quite famous in Australia.
Oh, it's so New Zealand. Like every time I talk to you about any
Okay, mate.
Do this together.
anytime you talk to a Kiwi, especially Phil because he's a muso, about any sort of actor or band in New Zealand, like feels like, oh yeah, I remember when I was flatmating with them and they were banging like the Prime Minister's ex cousin or something, you know. There's some mad connection there.
It's a small country.
It
like
is a small.
4.5 million or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll let you guys get back to it.
You need a third mic.
Yeah, well, Phil was going to jump
Bring him
in and then
co-host.
and then we realised we've only got the two mic interface. But you guys just did a work.
I've got one.
What did you guys do the other day? Phil said you were out.
So
Kicking back with their-
they were doing a session. Where was it? Jimbaran. It says it's Jimbaran. It was down in the deep of Jimbaran.
It's deep. It's proper guts.
I was
Jimbaran.
invited to a
Yeah.
session of theirs, which I kind of just dropped in on, and just got very technical.
It was a masterclass, man.
I guess
Nice.
it wasn't much composition, but it was like engineering stuff.
So what?
Stuff that the audience
Are
will
you
like:
s-
overdrive, saturation, mix down, bus compression, the usual stuff.
He's used the word saturation a lot lately. Is that from your?
Yeah.
Is it-
Yes.
There we go.
You got to saturate.
There we
Gain
go.
stage. It's important.
Hey.
You see?
All right,
That's
I got the herpes from Damian, like, you know, the herpes of the sound world. Yeah, because he gave me the whole.
No, it's good stuff. It's like stuff you got to know. I mean, how deep into that do we go without? But I don't know what your audience are like.
Fuck it. What, just go hard.
Yeah,
mate.
just gain stage. Like, there's a lot of people that will drop, for engineers and producers out there, you'll drop a compressor on a channel and it'll sound like it's boosted the volume. So the brain perceives louder as better, where it's not true. If you're dropping stuff on, you're just gaining your level. And if you've got 60 channels of audio and MIDI and you keep dropping that shit and you're just pushing your gain. So you need to, for whatever effect you add, you need to dial the gain back so you've got the same volume on the way out. Does that make sense? It totally makes sense.
It makes total sense.
Same
to
as
me.
saturation.
I mean,
Saturation's like harmonic distortion, like in harmonics. So if you're adding a saturator, it's to like a sub bass or a sine, which is a clean sine tone. You distort it, and you're gonna get extra harmonics, but it's gonna make it louder. So you need to dial that back. So
But
you're not
those
getting
extra harmonics
gain.
are actually adding a beautiful grit
For sure, the
into
brain
sound,
likes
into the music.
odd harmonics. It's like, for me, it's like one of the only times where people like things that are in odd numbers rather than even.
I noticed that just recording, like,
If you use the
Even
distortion
just-
pedal like fuzz or stuff like that in your music,
well,
it
even
just
the other
sounds
day I
better
recorded
unless you overcook it.
just a straight acoustic finger picking track, and it wasn't until I recorded it that I listened back and heard harmonics happening in there just from the way my fingernails were scratching the strings at times. There were harmonics that sounded really nice, like really unexpected, weird,
That's those
clawing
nails.
Wolverine. It's those
That's
big,
it.
thick lockdown nails. Yeah, it actually caught certain sounds that you don't expect that just
Add to
they
it.
don't
If
subtract
it
from
was
it
pure
all.
and it was clean, it wouldn't be as good. So you've got all this digital equipment these days that can record the purest signal, but you're paying
Sorry, keep going. I'm just going to
thousands of dollars for these boxes that will distort or compress your signal to make things sound more analog, like old studios. Tape saturation and stuff like that.
Do you want to throw that up? Yeah, I mean that's
Oh, is your battery gone?
yeah. The GoPro just died, and it's that there's an issue with that. You can't plug it in and you can't charge it and record at the same time.
No, you
It's
can't.
weird.
They're really...
Oh, you can't on yours either?
No, and you can't run an old Hero 4 GoPro on the USB for power if it's connected to like a laptop, like bus power.
Yeah, I've noticed
it has to be connected to the mains.
Yeah, right. What's going on there?
Well, I was doing all the streaming stuff a long time before people are streaming now. I was doing it in the studio. Phil's struggling.
Yeah.
So have you been writing?
I'm trying to get away. It's a bit tight at this camera.
It's a bit tight, mate.
Oh, yeah.
That's what your mum
Tight.
said. Tight.
Have I been writing?
Yeah, like
Just sketches, lots of
but
sketches.
are you sketching out in this? Are you sketching out? You're sketching out, mate.
No,
Are you
because I only
sketching
just
out
got
in
the studio back. I
or-
say only just 3 months. Now, for all the gear and the environment of that studio, it's amazing. It's a dream come true for a producer engineer.
Man, like when I
It's not Abbey Road, but it's...
when I first was playing this at the W and walked into the W studio and just saw you sitting there just with your coffee going, mate, this is my space now. I was like,
It's pretty special,
you
right?
really slotted into a great spot there. It's a
I'm sure it'll come to an end one day and I'll be gutted, but yeah, I love it a lot. It's the best project I ever worked on. But for writing and sketching, ironically, I do my best stuff at the kitchen table with AirPods.
that makes sense though.
Yeah, it's
that's
weird,
that-
right?
that's
You
that
can be
whole thing,
surrounded
yeah.
by all this gear. You know, I got a Prophet 6, Sub 37 Moog, Avalon mic pre's and compressors and all UAD gear. But if I just sit with Ableton or Logic and AirPods, just tinkering around, always like chords and melodies and bass first before any drums, you can get some really interesting shit.
Yeah.
I find that's the best.
You reckon you could grab us a beer? I know you want more. No, but they're at the shop.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, they're just in the fridge.
Yeah, I left them in the fridge.
I left them in the fridge up the road inside the shop. Yeah.
Okay, mate.
Yeah. Feel free to grab yourself one as well.
So yeah, I don't know why that is, and it's not often it happens. I think that's why I'm so inconsistent, and I don't really finish stuff.
But you know, that makes
because the
total
house is always
sense.
chaos.
Oh,
Like
it
family
must be
running around,
harder with
annoyed
a
in and out of the kitchen.
wife and kids, man. Yeah.
Yeah, but if I'm sat at the table and everyone's gone to bed or everyone's out of the house, and I'll just open and again it goes back to when we first started talking on this lengthy journey that it's going to take half an hour to warm up, or a sketch might be shit. It might do nothing, but if I go back the day after, I'm still warmed up and I know what went wrong in the last session.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. Like,
I have a good habit. I start all my tracks in A harmonic minor. Originally like A minor, so it's all white
I'm
notes.
such an A minor freak.
It's different for you.
A
You're on
minor to
strings.
F.
I don't know what that means, but on keys, I have like it's different now because Ableton 11 just came out, and you can set your scale in the piano roll. This is super nerdy shit. There are people tuning out by the second. But I had a trick where you can draw in all the. So if you want major, if you want a major scale, you're just going to draw all the white notes in the piano roll, starting from C
Yep.
up to C, and then you can shift it back behind the piano roll and fold the piano roll so every note you write is going to be in C. If you want minor, start in A minor because it's all white, and if you want C minor, D minor, or anything else, you can just you'll know because you're a musician. I'm like technician, engineer, producer, but I know that if I fill out all those white notes from A up to A and then duplicate it so I've got 2 octaves, and then I fold it so there are no gaps in between, like tone, semitone, or whatever. That pattern is a minor key
A minor
pattern.
key,
So
yeah.
I can transpose that down to a C, a D, E, F, G, or sharps, flats, whatever. It's going to stay in that code.
Yep.
So that's how I start, but usually in A minor. But then it sounds, I don't know, too linear. So I always shift to like harmonic minor. If I just shift that up to the G, like the sharp, it sounds, people say it always sounds like ethnic or Egyptian or Middle Eastern, but it doesn't. It just sounds more interesting because it's just got that bit. Does that make sense?
You're probably going to think that if you're not Egyptian. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Egyptians
Egyptians will just be like, "Are you fucking serious?
Nah.
Are you kidding me right now?"
But you know, it sways that way.
Yeah.
If you know a harmonic minor,
Yeah.
it just makes it more interesting than like a flat A minor Western scale.
Yeah, and
that's
it's
what I think. It's linear, and that's when you're gonna kind of draw melodies on the beat, and it'll just sound like a Google plugin. Need to pull that mic up.
You sound
closer.
like Hugo coding away.
Maybe, yeah.
Hugo just coding.
No, I
the
find
A
those
minor.
interesting scales. They inspire me a bit more to write. But to answer your question, that's a bit long-winded. That's the Singaraja, brought to you by Singaraja
But
Beer.
that makes sense to me. I mean, I often write the fastest with an acoustic guitar when I book into a hotel room somewhere, anywhere, wherever, and it's a bit of a reverby, empty, shitty hotel room. Like some of the fastest songs I've ever written is when I've walked in a room, I've gone, oh my God, this room is just terrible. It's literally just the classic white tile floor, bed in the
Lovely.
middle, and nothing else in the whole room. And I go, well, nothing to do but play my guitar then. So I'll pull the guitar out and I'll go, holy shit, it sounds good in here. It's that reverb. And then within 5 minutes, there's a song written. I mean, like, and it's not a flash studio. It's that.
What's your process when you start? Do you have like a go-to scale or like a comfort zone for starting tracks?
My comfort zone is definitely A minor to F. Like that just
It's great. A minor's the one.
Yeah, and that can be. The thing is, it won't actually always be A minor. It'll be the shape because I might throw the capo on just to change shit up. So I'll slide the key up the guitar, which means
12th fret.
which means all of a sudden it's not A minor, but it's still the same shape.
Yeah.
but it's the same. And it's like you saying, you move it, you get that pattern, and then you change the place of it. So you're changing the key and you're changing everything, but it's actually the same movement. And so I might do that, but yeah, that's a comfortable place that I naturally jam over. But I'll often pick up the guitar and jam, and then just start singing. And I improvise vocals very easily, so that's. So I just let myself sing, and then if something starts to work and I like it, I'll hit record on my phone, and then later I'll listen back, and that's when I might start writing lyrics to suit what I've sung.
Got you.
Thanks,
Thanks,
dude.
Phil.
Awesome. But I'll
Phil's
never.
just been to the shop and brought back a beer. What a gentleman.
Yeah. He bought us one and himself
heavy,
10, don't worry. But I will never, like, I often find it funny when someone says to me,
I feel like we're talking about something that might be worth something all of a sudden again.
yeah,
We've got such a mixed audience, hopefully.
yeah, those coding, those
from
crazy,
coding to AI
those
to
neurologistic coding,
shitty backstory
future
to-
drug dealing, psychopathic, like, plug into the matrix.
for yourself.
Yes, I will.
But yeah, writing those melodies first, and then everything will follow after that.
Yeah, I always laugh when, often I've had someone say to me, hey, I write lyrics, so I tell you what, how about I give you my lyrics and you write a song with them? I never, for one, I love writing my own lyrics, but
how do you know those lyrics are going to fit?
Yeah, I've never written lyrics and then designed a
first,
song
right?
around it. It just doesn't work that way, because then you're not.
You've pretty much got a fucking poem.
Yeah.
Would that be right?
Yeah. Just keep it as a poem. If it's written down and there's no music to
Haiku.
it, just leave the music out of it. Like just throw it on your Facebook status and be done with it.
That's it.
Yeah.
And
I
subscribe.
I don't sing to try and mouth my words around words from a page. I'll sing, and because there's a fluidity that comes with singing and the way you mouth words, that just there's a beautiful sound that comes out just through improvising and feeling it. And then you can, if you record that and you listen back to it and you know it works, you can then write lyrics that fit those sounds and shapes.
Got you.
Rather
the
than
tone,
trying
the
to
mood.
Yeah. Rather than trying to fit.
I think that's why it's important to do like your chords first. Chords, then a melody, then a bass that'll fit that. This is off topic, but I just remember your GoPro went down, and this is an issue I had when I first started streaming years ago from the studio.
It's not streaming though.
No,
You know
but I'm
it's not
saying if
streaming,
you're
right?
recording,
Oh, it's recording, yeah.
you can actually run it off mains power, and it'll keep recording to the card. You need like a, I think it's
really?
micro USB to a mains power, but it won't run off the Mac. Technical tip
Oh,
for
okay.
everyone. If it's plugged into the mains, it will
we've
keep
got the phone
going.
filming it now anyway.
Oh yeah.
So we're back online. We're back online, baby.
What's next? I think we've solved a lot of shit.
It's been a lot of world issues. Well, we've admitted that there's a lot of problems. I don't know if we've solved many.
We're not solving anything. We're just shooting the shit. I
So
think the kids say.
You're staying in Bali now.
Yeah, I am.
You're here for a bit.
I love it. It's like a love-hate thing. But then again, the grass is always greener.
It's funny.
I looked at the UK, nice parts of the UK. But then the UK's in a mess. Australia.
I'm really
sounds great,
not
but it's
drawn
like,
to living back in Australia, the UK, or the States. At
the
moment
States,
in
I had
terms
this
of-
charm with, like, not so much LA, but I have this fucking micro obsession with California. You know, my wife's dream is to go to New York. But for me, it's not. It just sounds like noise 24 hours
I
a day.
love
It's
New York,
always
man.
on. Yeah, but that's
I
what people
love
tell
New
me. It's like,
York.
you've just got to try it. You'll love it.
Yeah.
California, I love it. I've only seen LA and San Francisco. I'd like to see San Diego. I'd like to drive up through all of it. But then you learn, like, maybe it's because of a pandemic, like the homeless crisis there, the taxes,
But none of that,
sounds like a fucking
definitely
nightmare.
none of that takes away from the beauty of that country when you're traveling through it. It's
I've only been to
incredible
California
to
and
travel
Austin
through.
in Texas.
Yeah, right.
That was nice.
Yeah,
I was only there a few days. I can't say I got to know it.
I absolutely love California. I think it's beautiful, but I think I am drawn more for living, which sounds crazy because I live in Bali. But as far as making a move to a big place like the States, I am actually drawn more to a place like New York, where it's big city, gritty. It just inspires me to want to write more. And
Yeah, for sure. I think it's probably good to
thrown in
do
the thick of
bursts
it.
there.
yeah,
But you hear stories.
I'm sure I'd
Maybe
my
I'm wrong. People
mind would
go there
change
to
if I
kind of
was-
make it, but then get out.
Yeah, well,
And
that's
if
the
you're
thing.
going to go there, you have to be. You have
For the
to
last 5
fucking
years, I've
hustle
gone there
hard.
for a month of every year, and because
Yeah.
it's a month, it's like just being thrown
Full
like
power.
into the deep end.
One day I'll try it. But yeah, I'm definitely biased towards California.
You will love New York. You will, like, I can't imagine.
I've been told the
you
best
wouldn't
time
love
it goes like September, October.
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, yeah, when it's still warm enough to really enjoy that, because it gets crazy hot and it gets crazy cold. So
Right.
if you can get there in the middle, in between those, I mean, it's just a vibrant, crazy, beautiful city. Everything at once is just being.
I bet.
Every story written is just, it's like you're lying under a library of books and history, and all those poems and songs that you've listened to where people have been through shit and stabbed and been drunk and on the
Nice.
worst acid trips, and then woken up and walked out in the sunshine and realized how beautiful coffee smells, and the smell of a bakery filling your nostrils, and listening to someone argue on a street corner, and then looking over and seeing two lovers kiss for the first time.
Sounds
It's
like Canggu.
all at the same time. Canggu.
Sounds like Batu Balong.
Oh my god, with your fucking leather jacket and your boots on the beach.
That's it, exactly. Exactly. Board shorts.
Oh yeah, yeah. Smashed avocado toast tattooed on your
Smashed
forehead.
Avo. It's Avo.
Smashed avo.
Aren't you? You got me
Smashed
down
avo
with the kids.
tattoos. God save me.
Yeah. One day I'll go to New York.
Isn't it funny how everything's just completely shut down and everyone's left? and
Once
it's
in a
just-
lifetime.
And then there's Canggu.
Doesn't give a fuck. Never happened.
Zero fucks.
If you didn't see
And
it, it
just-
never happened.
Yeah,
There's no COVID here.
it's crazy.
No helmets, no masks, no nothing.
Yeah, I mean, you drive through there during the
I had a guy come to
daytime.
the studio. Actually, he came to the hotel yesterday. Producer DJ from the Eastern Bloc, let's say, wants to do a photo shoot in the studio for his new release. And
Guy living here? Or?
yeah, I guess he's living here, yeah, or he's trapped here or whatever. But you know, you get used to just bumping knuckles with people or just saying hi. This guy came in with a full handshake and the hug straight away, and I was like, "Holy fuck!"
Did he smell of Canggu?
It was like a shark.
He smelt of Canggu, didn't he?
It is, but I thought,
Oh, he could have even had a little bit of a Pereira
I was a bit startled.
to his smell.
to say the least. It's like, don't hug me, don't do that.
That could be very Ubud though. Did he?
No,
No?
he's from the goo.
Oh, it was a gooster.
A goose. That's it. We just coined it. He's a goose. We live in China.
The old goose just squawked in.
Yeah. And he came to the studio again today, and did the same again. But you don't want to make it awkward. Well, you should.
It's very full on when someone goes like. There's
it's like that open hand, and you're kind of like.
There's a fine
you make
line.
Your knuckles clear. He's like, is he going to punch me or is he going to bump fist? He's like, here's the knuckles. Touch them. Don't shake. Bitch.
I'm always very confused by people that go for a minority group greeting to you at first meeting. Like,
as in what?
As in like a fist pump or a high five or what, any kind of.
Have you ever met someone where they've like first meeting and they've gone for a high five? I'd love to see it. Nice to meet you. I'm Athron.
I'm trying to think of which sex orgy I was in where I was high fiving someone.
We're not going to get into your New York stories.
Okay, maybe a high five is a far reach, but I've definitely met a lot of people who have fist pumped on first meeting.
Is it pump or bump? Because I think if you say fist pump, people might get
maybe
the
that's
wrong...
back to the sex orgy.
Yeah.
Let's just keep away from.
Got to wash your hands regularly.
Yeah, wear the mask. Keep the mask on. Keep the gag in.
Fist pumping.
So
Continue.
fist touching. What are we? I don't know.
Bump.
This is why
Some
it doesn't
people
make
do that
sense to me
elbow.
because I can't even think of the term. Like it just doesn't make sense to me at all. Like when someone does one of those things, and I think to myself, if you do that to everyone you meet, surely 7 out of 10 people look at you strangely, or it turns into an awkward situation more often than not.
As that open handshake is awkward now.
Okay, what's the open handshake?
A
as in a
fucking
normal
handshake. Like they're coming at you confident and strong, which was fine just over a year ago.
Oh, as in
I'd be
as
in
in-
that sweaty
you mean
rhubarb basement.
You mean a PCH?
What is that? That's
Pre-COVID handshake.
That's the Pacific Coast Highway. It's been recoined. We're back on California. Now, this guy came in strong, confident, open handshake.
Right.
And I felt obliged.
Well, he's in the Canggu bubble, mate. There's no COVID.
That's right.
He's never
It doesn't
experienced
exist,
COVID.
right?
It's never
So I
heard
shook
of
it and I kind of made sure that hand was planted on the table until he'd left. And as soon as he'd gone, I fucking bathed.
Straight
Bathed
to
in
disinfectant.
sanitizer. I don't know if I'm just like,
Just
I've
cut
become
your
the
hand off.
paranoid. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm still a handshaker though, but saying that
I'm not, but I think
saying
it's
that I
just 'cause,
don't meet.
like I said earlier, my friends have gone. I don't see many people, which isn't so bad. I quite enjoy it. A life of solitude.
Maybe I'm not a handshaker because I don't see anyone anymore. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, you'll find out. I mean, it's different with you. I came to do this, and I know that you're mostly clean. But when a stranger comes out and they're like,
I'm only clean. Yeah.
bang, and like it's like, oh, it's just like refusing a gift off
You
someone.
really,
You're like,
yeah. I guess
put
you're
that
right.
shit away.
You're
like
really
wear a rubber.
aware. I wonder if there's going to be a rubber glove. They've already looked at that, right? Where rubber gloves are just pointless. Because I remember there was talk of rubber gloves at the start of the whole COVID thing, and
I missed that.
I remember someone saying it's pointless because you literally you're still passing shit on from one thing to the next.
on the glove, I guess.
Yeah,
Me being the epidemiologist.
yeah.
See, I can still.
I mean, there are definitely times when I want someone wearing a rubber glove, but but they're not the times that I love to get involved in.
But I was quite
regardless.
startled with this confident handshake.
I mean, I'm more startled with a.
The guy came to the studio today. Again, he's planning this photo shoot. I thought the photo shoot was today, my day off. So I go in the studio, 10 a.m., ready to get this photo shoot done, wrapped in 30 minutes. Take some pictures, look like you're fucking...
You're dreaming, are you, for a 30-minute photo shoot? Aren't all photo
I don't
shoots
imagine
like,
they were turning up with a crew. He had a photographer who probably had...
with an
some
iPhone?
Canon... Fucking Canon?
Canon?
A fucking
You
Canon.
just got your posh on, mate.
I did
With a
get
Canon?
posh on.
I say.
Turn up with the camera, but then it turned out the shoot wasn't today. But even today, I was sat at the Mac just messing with like chords and melodies and stuff, and he's leaning in, like, and
Heavy lean in.
Yeah, gave me like
Close quarter
the
talker.
breath, the everything.
Oh, proper talk. Like just.
Yeah, like looking in on my project, like,
Ooh.
and then went for that handshake and like the pat on the shoulder hug, and I was like,
Yeah.
but again, I was like
very
yeah,
wary
yeah.
of just the hugging and that's before.
He didn't look like he had leprosy or anything,
No,
so
mean,
I
I'm-
went with it.
I'm all for showing your emotions, but
Shout out
I
to
find
leprosy.
it very. Yeah, let's not cancel. Watch the cancel culture, mate. The lepers out there are going to get very
You're going to
offended.
be people from the
Good look
fucking
after.
1900s tweeting.
You literally from the grave.
Thou
The
doth
entire
not
18th
mock.
century is going to be
Thou
texting you on
Thou
Twitter.
shalt not mock as leprosy.
Mock us thou shalt not, for this is that why art shall die.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, I can't handle like anyone
beer.
that gives me a major. I can't handle a third beer, obviously. Anyone that goes in for the full hug before there's any kind of. But
I don't know the guy.
I tell you what, I would rather a hug. I'd rather a high five than a really piss poor weak handshake from a guy.
They're funny those, aren't they?
Those dead fish handshakes.
They're like, is
make
it you
me-
or is it me doing this? Like, what's
I
that
know it's
floppy-
not me because I can. When you actually feel their knuckles like rub against each other and crackle in your hand, because you just go for a normal
I'm
firm
cringing
handshake and it goes, and you feel their knuckles sort of go do that little run against
No,
each
but
other.
those, even those floppy ones where it's like...
Or you feel their fingers like.
Oh, is
do
it?
that-
There's something about like confident handshakes or something.
Just
So
a, just a solid, normal, a firm hand. I don't know. It's something my mother taught me from the get go.
One of my DJs used to shake your hand. He'd shake your body. He was that confident.
Well, that's over the top
He'd
as
fucking
well.
squeeze and he'd fucking shake you like he's cracking a whip. You'd have to brace yourself, and it became like a
Literally
private
cracks in the
joke. He never
floor.
knew. Bless him. I love him to bits, but he never knew. And over,
See, there's
over
too
time,
hard
I
and
think he
there's too
realised
soft.
because he might have felt some resistance back. He
Yeah,
might
right.
have felt people bracing themselves
It's
for
too
like
hard and it's too soft. You can't go in too hard. You can't go.
like Indiana Jones.
I watched Raiders of the Lost Ark again
Raiders
the
of
other
the what? What were you going to say?
night.
Anal Raiders.
Almost got the black market version. the Ralph Fiennes.
Oh, this is all
Strange
just
taste.
fucking... This podcast has melted. It's gone.
The virtual
Have you got any
reality.
stats how long like your viewers or your listeners
Have I
tune
got
in
any what?
for?
No, stats, mate. No, it's all over. They've already tuned out. There's no one. The GoPro died. The phone's already. Even the phone's turned itself off.
It might have gone. We still got the audio.
What was I saying?
Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Why am I talking about that?
You watch
it's-
Raiders of the Lost
Yeah,
Ark.
holds up. Great movie.
Fucking right, does.
Harrison Ford,
Spielberg,
man.
the man.
Absolute fucking kicker. All right, mate. Do you want to wrap this up?
I think we should wrap it up there. This has
Once
been
we've hit
brilliant.
Raiders of the Lost Ark,
Yeah.
we've come to the end.
What was the one after that? What was the sequel?
Temple
of Doom.
Mister. She said, hold on. He said, hold on, lady. We're going for a ride. Great movie.
That's cultural appropriation, and I think you're about to be cancelled.
Can you not
This
even
is the same
quote-
guy
Can
from.
you not even
This is
quote
the same
that in-
guy from the Goonies that went. I'm not going to do it. I can't do it because
Go
I
on,
just
do it.
Googled."
Same actor?
Yeah, it was the same
Is
guy.
that short?
Yeah, well, yeah, he had
Shorty.
that belt with the fucking things that shot out of it.
Is Shorty
Hinges
in
of
Temple
Power.
of Doom the same
Yeah,
kid as Goonies?
yeah, he was a fucking star for like
fuck, I
3
didn't know
films. Yeah,
Great roles.
and on that note,
Great roles.
Athron,
All
it's
right,
been
thanks
good.
for popping by, mate.
I could go forever, but I
Mate,
think
you know
we're
what?
just.
We should fist bump.
I'm going to shake your
I'd high
hand.
five you, but not too hard, not too soft.
I'd hug you, but I'd knock the mic out. So thank you.
Rock and
everyone.
roll. Thanks for tuning in,
Thank
people. Bali Rooftop, episode number, I forget, beer number 3. See you next time. You.